Good. I pressed go live on YouTube too. So we're ready. All right. So this is our weekly podcast, weekly video podcast about China marketing news. We'll talk about Chinese culture, Chinese technology, Chinese marketing. These are the things that we think are going to affect us now or in the future. For our team that does marketing in China, it's me and Lawrence here. And today we're going to be talking about some upgrades to WeChat video accounts that are pretty important. How Carrefour started making a profit in China. Some updates about COVID, China's economic recovery. A few ways to protect data from the Chinese government. Something weird about Baidu advertising account spends that we noticed. And finally, about Chinese space asteroid mining. So let's get started. I'm going to be reading some of this news to Lawrence, and Lawrence is going to be reading some of this news to me. The first one is about WeChat video account upgrades. So WeChat is rolling out a whole bunch of new upgrades that are pretty cool, and they're going to affect the video accounts. So that means the accounts that will show up in channels if you're using WeChat in the English version. Let's go through these bit by bit to see what the updates actually are. So one of the first ones is that there can hashtags can be added within moments. Okay.
Yes.
And if you click those hashtags, what you'll see is a screen with that really emphasizes the video accounts. This is going to emphasize the video content on WeChat. And below it, you're going to see some other content too. You're going to see content that is just WeChat normal articles and some other things in there too. Lawrence, how big of a impact do you think this individual feature has?
I think WeChat is really trying to promote the moment. To make WeChat more socialized than before. In the past, we know you can only send a post, but recently we see that it allows you to send probably longer videos. Sometimes you can mute others. You can click different types. It gives more feature to moments and the video accounts. So I'm saying WeChat is really trying to make the video channel into a different platform within the WeChat. So
right.
I would say it really gives WeChat something compared with other video platforms like Bilibili and others,
right?
Because you can keep sharing new videos. The hashtag is really something.
Because WeChat is like the everything platform, right? So it'll take something like Douyin, the ideas that come from Douyin, the short videos that come from Douyin, and it will take that whole multi-billion-dollar idea and like import it into WeChat and make it part of WeChat, and it will function within there, kind of. These hashtags are part of it, but there's a whole bunch of different features here that come along with it.
Yes, I think one of the things different is when people are trying to go through every applications like Douyin, Weibo, and WeChat, they're trying to kill in the time. But now in WeChat, actually you can do that within the WeChat. So you don't really have to download that many apps. If you want to go watch some short videos, you can do it in WeChat. If you want to watch some articles, news, it's all within the WeChat.
Okay, let's keep going through these different features here that are related to the short videos. Another one is that the videos now can be up to 30 minutes. So I guess they're not even calling them short videos now. They're calling them long videos, right?
Yes. One of the definition of videos, if everything longer than 6 minutes, you consider a long video.
Oh, who considers it a long video?
I have a friend who work in Bilibili, and he is trying to showing this, and there is a system. So everything below 1 minute is called short video, very short video. Everything between 1 to 6 minutes is called medium video, and everything longer than 6 is called long video.
Okay, all right. Well, anyways, when WeChat started copying this, they were copying Douyin, so people said it was short videos, and now they're talking about long videos. Now they have up to 30 minutes, but Douyin videos have can be longer and longer now too. Let's keep looking at the different features that they added here. Okay, so now when you click on the videos, you could see it in an interface that supports bullet comments, which is a lot like Bilibili, and a floating window. A floating window so that you would be able to watch the video in picture and look at other things at the same time. But I'd like to test this on my WeChat account now, but I can't. These are features that are being rolled out, but they're not active on my WeChat account now.
For these new features, I would say like from probably 2018 or 2019, after Bilibili got very popular in China, I'm seeing all the video platforms are using these features, like nearly every platforms.
Yeah.
And I think this is really a good way to interacting with between audience and whoever posts the video. So you can see like if they like it, the more mini posts that they post in there, your video just get very trendy. So I think this is a good feature. This is not something special in the video platforms, but if WeChat has it, I would say probably it will make something different. I think we will see that in the near future.
Hold on, something different. Well, there's not really something different. They're using these features that are coming from other platforms, but they're putting it all within WeChat. And the fact that it's all within WeChat, I guess, is a different thing, because WeChat is the aircraft carrier of apps.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. There's no big difference on that features. So because every platform has it, but maybe WeChat will just make it looks different compared to others because you just have too many features.
Yeah. Okay. So another thing here with these WeChat video accounts is that people will be able to, from the account, click through to a WeChat store. Now, personally, I don't think this is a big impact yet, because this is not a big deal in China. People in China, if they're using some live streaming apps, they can click like directly from that live streaming app, live stream that they're watching, to buy a specific product, like for example on Taobao Live. Now this one here is nowhere near that, because people still have to click to see the video account, and then they have to click to move on further and move on to the WeChat store and make a purchase. But it does show that WeChat is moving closer towards that social commerce integration that will probably be really useful within the future.
I think this is only one try WeChat made this time. I think they want to try something different to say if this is going to work, like how many people is going to like this feature, or they just don't like the feature, how to optimize this in the future. I think this is just a try.
Okay. Next up is this live streaming feature. Now, it was possible to do live streaming on WeChat before, such as through a WeChat Mini program. But it wasn't possible to do live streaming between. It wasn't possible to do live streaming on the video account within WeChat, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now people will be able to do that, and I think this is definitely something that we're going to be testing with accounts, because a lot of the times when we're running a live stream, what we're doing for clients is we're running it on another platform such as Inke, and then within WeChat we're running a WeChat group where we can let people learn about this live stream. We can let them chat about it, and then we also have the chat going on in Inke, right? We've tried other live streaming platforms too, not just that one. So this integration with the WeChat video accounts might turn out to be really smooth. It might turn out to be something that can go more viral. That's definitely something to watch out for.
I would like these features. I mean, it's already a super app for WeChat. If it can really do the live streaming, I would like to do it. I mean, I would have to try it first before everyone else.
Yeah, right. So all these features are stuff that we're going to have to try. because this is just stuff
Yeah.
that's rolling out now, and like everybody that's doing marketing in China, pretty much we're all using WeChat. Like everybody's using WeChat. Some of us like exclusively using WeChat, not so much us. But so anything WeChat changes is really interesting. Let's keep going over these. So we're spending a bit longer on this topic because it's important, and then the other topics we talk about today, we'll do it within like 4 minutes or so per topic. Okay, so this one is the next feature that they're showing here related to WeChat is that the WeChat video account videos can be embedded within WeChat articles. Now, WeChat articles could already have videos within them, but this feature is going to, it's going to let the video account videos go in them, which is a little bit different. I'd be interested in your opinion on it too, Lawrence. But when I look at this first, I think maybe this isn't the best way to do videos, because from WeChat's point of view, this might be driving traffic towards their video accounts where they can they can drive this viral video segment that they're working on. But for us marketers, usually when we have our readers reading an article, we don't want them to click through from that video and go out to another place. I mean, we want them to read through that article, and a lot of times at the end of the article, we're going to have a call to action. We're going to have something that we want them to do. And I don't want them to get lost on that video, click through to the WeChat video accounts and get lost watching puppy videos, right? I'm sure we're going to test this out, though. I'm sure that our teams are going to test this out, and then we'll see if it actually is worthwhile to include them or not.
Because in my opinion, on the one hand, WeChat is doing this is not really good for us, as you mentioned, because sometimes people are reading article, then they saw a video, then they click the video and they forget the article at all after watching the video. So they will just leave the article. But however, I think WeChat is really listening to us. Do you remember we used to do one broadcast? We talk about WeChat expanding the advertisement in video channel, right? But now it allows you to embed the video into articles. I think they're really trying to make something. I would say this is not good for me at all. I don't like this feature for this moment. But I think WeChat is up to something bigger than this.
Okay. All right, this next feature here, the video accounts have this Tait Lawrence. What's that?
I think it's a hashtag.
They've been mentioned.
You've been mentioned, yes.
Right, or they've been mentioned. So, for example, if we look at a video account such as Nike, they show here, we would be able to see who is at who else is talking about Nike and what's going on there. That seems a bit tough to control that. I mean, if you're a brand and it is other people that have mentioned you that is showing on your page, that could be a bit rowdy. That could cause some trouble. Or am I interpreting this wrong?
No, you're not wrong. I think one of the purpose of doing this feature is now people like to do the vlog or shooting a lot of videos. If you can have the hashtag mentioned, like if you're going out with your friend, you could mention, oh, this is like Lawrence shoot the video. I'm with Lawrence together today. I would say it's just a small feature, but it's more interaction between friends or bloggers.
Sure, but maybe this mention here on Nike's page, maybe this mention is Lawrence's Nikes fell apart, and he took a video of it, a small video of it, and mentioned Nike, and then it shows up there.
Yes, I think that's something WeChat's trying to do, is to asking those brands to, sort of engaging with audience. I'm not really sure about that. But as this picture showing is like Nike is mentioned in sort of videos. You can see that people are shooting different videos trying to say like, oh, I can do it. That's Nike's slogan. Right.
Okay, sure. So I'll just sum this up for WeChat, what's going on here. WeChat in general is more of a closed system. And as marketers, the way that we want to use WeChat is we want to get people that are already interested in a brand to start following the brand on WeChat, because they're likely to open the articles and read more. as for sharing content and spreading viral content, it won't be as explosive on WeChat as it would be on other platforms. It won't be explosive like it would be on Douyin or Weibo, for example. But the video aspect of WeChat is getting bigger. When I made my WeChat tour video a few months ago, I talked about the WeChat video features as being just something to watch out for, right? And now they keep making changes. WeChat really wants to catch up. They want to have that more Douyin-like aspect in there. And I guess it's still something to watch, but it's something to watch more closely and just be ready to use.
Yes, I definitely agree with you. I think one of the things I like the WeChat is they're really listening to how user feedback, to how we feedback to like particular features or what we like to add into. I really like the WeChat. I mean, it's best steps for me.
Yeah. Okay. So let's move on here. We'll go to our next news items. So a bunch more things here. This one is about Carrefour, Jialufu,
Yes.
a grocery store within China, and you were going to tell me about this, right?
Yes. Okay. We saw the pages. Okay. So actually there are two links in here. So we know Carrefour was adopted by Suning last year, and Suning paid a lot of money to buy 80% of Carrefour's share.
Okay, and Suning is
back in the past.
Let's clarify for listeners. Suning is a big electronics retailer within China, right? Or is it more than just electronics?
More than electronics. Actually, you can go to Suning platforms to buy all the home furniture you need, the fridge, microwave, everything you require, even iPhone or food stores. They have the fresh food stores, groceries, everything. I would say in like 1,000 provinces like Shanghai, Nanjing, you can say Suning everywhere.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. You see, like by my house in Nanjing there, you'll see like one kind of Suning store, and then you'll walk a few blocks and see like another kind of Suning store.
Yes, they are just different types. Some of them are supermarkets, and some of them are just simply a grocery, and some of them are way too big. It contains all the electronics and food stores, everything. So it's quite big in China.
Right. Okay. Just had to clarify that. Anyways, go on.
Okay. So after the Carrefour was persuaded by Suning, after a year, the business changed for Carrefour because back in 2018, they couldn't even really running the business in China. The reason for that is they are lacking of new customers and they don't really have new fashion items. As we know, like people nowadays are really to buy something from internet. I think from Taobao or Jingdong. Some items are not showing in this supermarket, and people wanted to see them in their nearby groceries, and that's why Suning adopted this. And they actually have a competition with Tencent for who will buy the Carrefour. And then Suning successfully acquired the Carrefour, and then they just merged two platforms together. So Suning is actually helping Carrefour. So they have millions of users on Suning who can buy items in Carrefour. So you can pay easily. It's new system, new marketing channels. So everything from Suning as a support that helps Carrefour to getting better and better this year.
Right. So you're saying that Suning helped out Carrefour by making sure that any consumers could also like really conveniently buy stuff from Carrefour digitally?
Yes, that's true.
Okay.
And I think that's something Suning can help with, is to make Carrefour localized. And that's something I noticed a lot of foreign companies didn't do. They come to China, they're still doing the way they used to do in the West. But I would say like China is a big country. You have to be localized to make a success.
Okay, sure. But what did they do to help Carrefour localize?
Okay, so first thing they do is they help open all the channels to getting payment easily done. So in the past, they're not allowed to do something like a WeChat Pay or Suning Pay. Suning have their own channel to pay, and then they're using marketing channel to promote the brand. And thirdly is they're getting more and more new items into Carrefour. So in the past, it take a long time for Carrefour to select a new item and get into the store, but now it's just getting easily. And the fourth, I think, is the most important, is Suning has a big range of users. So they import the Carrefour into Suning's platforms, so people can actually buy items on Suning's platform from Carrefour.
Okay. Well, this sounds like a fairly standard case of better localization to me, because normally businesses that enter China, they do have to localize better for China. But I think it's strange that it took Carrefour a while to do this, because they've been in China for a while, right?
Yes, I think they've been to China for more than 20 years. They've been to China in 1998.
Okay, wow. But now they have made these localizations with Suning, and they're making money.
Yes, they're making more money than they used to.
Okay. So is there anything else you want to say about this topic, or should I move on to the next one?
I think it's good to move on for this topic.
Okay. Next up is about COVID in China. So from this article here on bbc.com, I saw that, here, I'll quote them. The Chinese city of Qingdao is testing its entire population of 9 million people for COVID-19 over a period of 5 days. The mass testing comes after the discovery of a dozen cases linked to a hospital treating coronavirus patients arriving from abroad. Well, that's really a lot of people to test over 5 days. 9 million people over 5 days. That's pretty extreme.
Actually, to be honest, this test has been done for all citizens in Qingdao, which is 11 million today. They will finish before the noon. That's the news I was reading on my way to the office.
Right. Okay. So it's been done. The time I saw this news 2 days ago to now, it's already been done. Okay. That's cool. So the article also says the country has largely brought the virus under control. That is in stark contrast to other parts of the world where there are still high case numbers and lockdown restrictions of varying severity. This is about right from what I sense from people that I know in China. I mean, what we do a lot of the time is we'll do informal polls of people in the company and see what they think or what their family members think. And when I polled them sometime earlier, when the coronavirus was just starting, there was a difference in opinion. Some people were not sure about the media reports. Some people, and they were quite scared about coronavirus. They thought it was worse than was being shown in the media in China, and some people thought it was totally fine, and people had different opinions now, but now at this point, I would say that basically pretty much everybody in China thinks that coronavirus is under control in China. They feel relatively safe. They feel all right about having the economy more open and everything more open, and it's because of things like this. It's because the Chinese government, when they detect just a dozen cases in one city, will test the entire city and make sure that they lock it down right away. So I think they've been quite effective at they've been quite effective at constraining these coronavirus cases. After the initial part, like Wuhan and stuff, that was getting crazy. But nowadays, when there's an outbreak, they get it under control right away.
Yes, I think two things to mention to say that China has coronavirus under control. One thing is about Golden Week. I think last week you did the broadcast with Echo. I think we mentioned that there's more than 600 million people are out for traveling in China for the last 8 days, and that's incredible. That makes sense of like we have everything under control. And the second
Yeah.
thing is, as you mentioned, even we only have a dozen, like 10, 12 cases in one city, we will do the test for all citizens within the city to make
Yeah.
sure it's not, going wild, going crazy. So
Right.
one thing for myself is, for now, when I'm traveling on the streets, walking on the street, I barely wear my mask. I mean, I barely. Only
Yeah.
when I'm taking a train or subways because you're required to, otherwise you can't.
Oh, okay.
But in other time, even if you walk on the street, you see most people are not taking off their masks.
Right.
So that's a proof that like coronavirus is under control. It's safe to walk on the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Okay, moving on to the next one here. This is about the China cyber insecurity laws. It's a follow-up on what I talked about a month ago, and it's from ChinaLawBlog.com. I'll just quote them first. They say that any form of data you transmit across the Chinese border is available for inspection and use by the Chinese Communist Party and its agents. Once within the borders of China, there truly is no place to hide. So, what is to be done? You have three basic choices. So they're talking about what businesses can do if they're working with China, and I'm going to tell you these three choices here, but the situation is that any data that's going into China, the Chinese government and their agents can get a hold of it. You can't protect it through any way, and none of the regular methods that you would have for protecting your data, protecting your company data, would actually work within China. So here's your choices. Number one, I'll quote them: identify the technical data that you do not want the CCP to obtain. Then do not transfer that data to any location in China for any reason. If this means you cannot do business in China, that is what this means. This first point is pretty extreme. Maybe you can't do business in China. If you have to protect your data, absolutely, you can't do business in China. Number two, simply capitulate and allow your data to be taken by the party. This is very common. I think a lot of companies would just go along with this. They don't have data that is extremely sensitive, so they'll be like, well, can the party read my emails? There's nothing in the emails that's really private anyway. I'll just let them read it.
Okay.
Number three, assume all your systems in China are compromised. Then work with your cybersecurity consultant to design a system in China that will work in a situation where everyone involved knows the system is compromised. Now, they go on to explain this in more detail, but this option here sounds very complex and tough to implement. So I would think that most companies would not go ahead with that. They would either do one or two. They would just, I think that they just got to think that any data that they're sending within China is going to be accessible by the CCP, by CCP's agents, potentially by competitors of theirs. Anybody could get that data within China. So what they can do is not send sensitive data within China or choose to send their data. Either way, it's a choice.
I remember like a few weeks ago, we talked about this topic about cybersecurity, and now I think still one thing really concerns me is, will Chinese government to have a way to keep those data within only the Chinese government and its agency, because it's quite important to know that if our competitor to have access to those data. If no, I would say there will be an impact, but not that strong. But if anyone can access the data, like my competitors or the agency, then that will be a trouble. I mean, that's really going to be a trouble for like company to get involved into business into China. I mean, everyone could have access to your private data, to your server. That's just, I mean, that's something I can't imagine. Like, all the company is going to leave to China.
I think it makes sense for very high tech companies. For a lot of the kind of companies that we deal with, it works like this. Like if somebody can see the company and see what it does, then they can copy what the company does, regardless of whether they have the data or not. You know, like for example, as marketing professionals, you or I or the people that we work with could look at what a company is doing. We could analyze everything about them. We could find out the messaging they're using, their branding. We could look at where they're getting links from and the keywords they're using, and get a ton of data on where they're spending their advertising money. We could get a ton of data on them, and we could basically copy their marketing campaign, or we could use that information to create something different that helps us get an edge up on them. And I think that other professionals would be able to do the same thing. You know, I think that developers would be able to look at a certain website or platform, even if they don't have the data, and they'd be able to figure out how it works, and they'd be able to rebuild it. But there are some things that are so high tech, where the technology is either really ahead of the curve, or they have patents on it. That is the kind of thing where they don't want to be giving their technology or their data to other players within China. This is how I understand it anyways.
I think one of the biggest things for those high-tech companies is not about like what kind of technology you have, because for now it's quite open, global-wide to have some sort of the technology. One other thing I'm worried about is the data. I mean, for those high-tech companies, they have million users, like how they act. Those data are important part. Just as you said, if they run a campaign, they have thousands of users who use these new features. So like WeChat, like every day there are millions of people using WeChat. They could collect tons of data. And if you are just like anybody, you can just access to WeChat data, and then you say, oh, this is how WeChat is doing. This data is very valuable. I mean, that's just make everything different.
Yes. Okay. I think you're thinking at a big business scale, a big data scale that maybe I haven't thought of. The data is the most important thing. You're right about that. Let's move on.
Yes.
Next one here is about the Chinese economy. Now, according to Reuters.com, Chinese imports and exports are expanding. So exports in September rose 9.9% from a year earlier. And they say that the strong trade performance suggests Chinese exporters are making a brisk recovery from the pandemic's hit to overseas orders. So Chinese exporters are basically, they're selling abroad again. And that's going well. Imports too are going well. Imports surged 13.2% in September. And they say that the import strength was broad-based for almost all of China's main trading partners. So that means that they're importing more overall from all of their partners. It's all across the spectrum, pretty much.
I think that's a proof actually to say that China has the coronavirus under control. I mean, I have to mention this one more time, but I think this is a proof. Like, well, the other country and nations suffering from COVID-19, and China has it under control. So we are actually selling more and more stuff to other countries because they are suffering from the pandemic. So their factory or their warehouse is not opening, or they're not working efficiently. So they will need more and more. So we are selling more and more.
Yeah, right. And to prepare this kind of news for our little video podcast here, I read a bunch of different articles, and then I come up with maybe one, and I try to summarize it in a short amount of time. But this is what I'm seeing from not just this one economic article, but from a whole bunch of different ones that I read, that China's economy in general seems to be doing better. They're exporting more, they're importing more. Everything's going pretty good there. That's good for people that are selling into China. It's good for companies like us that are helping people sell into China.
Yes,
let's move on.
Because they will just realize,
Okay.
I think, just let me finish my sentence.
Sure.
I think they will just realize how important China is. I think back in the past, some of people, they just say, oh, China is a big market, but they're not really taking action to get into the China. But now I would say COVID-19 is an opportunity for those companies who didn't come to China now realize that China has really a big potential market for their business. So it's time to come.
Yep. Okay. Two more things to go here. Next up, this is not a news article. It's just something that we noticed. So Baidu accounts have been acting strangely in the end of September. And this is not the first time that we've seen this. We see this sometimes at the end of a quarter where something happens and depending on the channel that we set up accounts, that we set up Baidu accounts, we might not be able to spend as much ad credit as we want, or we might not be able to recharge the accounts, which is really weird because you would think that if you're advertising on a Chinese platform or any platform that you should be able to give them money at any time and they would take your money. But what happens is that some of the people that are involved with sales in Baidu, they have quarterly quotas. And if they've already met their quota, they don't want to accept more money just right at the end because they're already going to get their bonuses. So they try to delay you and not accept money until a couple of weeks later. And that will help them with their next quota, which is really kind of a weird thing that we see on Baidu. And one of the weird things that we have to deal with Chinese marketing. Actually, when we're doing marketing in China, we have to deal with a ton of paperwork, administration issues, relationship issues. It's just part of our work. So I thought I'd mention that as something weird. It's kind of funny to me. I don't know if it's funny to other listeners or not.
I think from a Chinese person perspective is that you're right. When you're doing business in China, you really have to prepare a lot of documents. So I would say one thing. So if you are coming into China, if you're starting a business in China, make sure you find the right agency like us. I'm not doing advertising. I mean, you have to find the right one, okay? So any business you're going to come to China, you find the right agency, which will help you to get your paperwork down, because that really takes a lot of time. If you're not doing it right, the trouble will come to you after probably a few months or even just right away. So it makes you more trouble than you think it will be. So maybe ring us.
Yeah, that's true. No, that's true. Our blog, our newsletter, our podcast, everything is, it's not for free. It's for mostly for questions that come from paying clients, and secondly from questions that come from other people that I like to educate too. But I just thought the Baidu thing is funny because that kind of thing, it's not really newsworthy. But on the other hand, we handle a ton of different things like that every week, little things that you have to wonder about, and that maybe Western marketers wouldn't even think about because they're not operating in China.
Yes, so always remember that there is a difference between how you do advertising in West and how you do advertising in China. They're just different. So they have to know that. I mean, they really have to.
Okay, let's move on to the next one here.
I think this is the last topic, right?
Yeah, this is the last topic. Totally not marketing related, but I wanted to talk about it anyways. So basically what's going on here is that there is a space race within China to mine asteroids. I'll leave a link so you can see the full video here of somebody that is knowledgeable about this topic and explain it better than me. But there are a whole bunch of Chinese space startups, and they are mining asteroids or doing different things in space. They're not doing exactly what SpaceX is doing. They have some different ideas. And first of all, let's go over the names of these companies. There is Link Space, Land Space, One Space, iSpace, and Origin Space. So they're doing a really they're doing like a really interesting thing. They're going to like really valuable thing for humanity. They're going to go out and try to mine asteroids or do other things in space. But as a marketer, I just think it's really funny that they all have these names that are space, 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 right? They all have space and they all sound the same. And one of them's called land space. And it's like, what's good about land space? That's like, are you on land? Are you going to space? I don't know. Okay, let's not talk about this. Let's talk about what's going on importantly. So the one Origin Space is dedicated to mining asteroids. And it'll be a long time before they can actually achieve that. They want to get samples from asteroids in 2023, but that seems like super ambitious. Like, are they going to be able to actually get samples from asteroids in 2023? I don't know. That sounds crazy. Like when Elon Musk and SpaceX set their schedules, it sounds really ambitious, but this is more so by like a factor of 4 or 5. But they do have an edge. It's that they get a lot of support from the government. The Chinese government will help them with funding. They want them to promote Chinese values and also go out there and develop the technology, go out there, go into space, do stuff, what else can I say? Why do you launch rockets into space and do stuff? Is it about like economic interest right now, or it's more like China, fuck yeah. That's kind of, this is what it is. They're going out into space. They're doing cool shit, right? Sorry to swear, but the reason that this article resonates with me is not because our people that are listening about tactical marketing or want to learn how to do marketing in China need to know about asteroid mining, but it's just that China as a whole is very positive about the future and aggressive. Businesses are aggressive, and they want to move forward, and they just want to do everything that they can. And if you're doing marketing in China, regardless of what niche you're in, I just feel like you're going to be facing Chinese competition. You're going to be facing competition that is really aggressive and innovative and has tons of funding.
From my perspective, when watching this news, I felt like way different. I mean, I have a lot to say for this. Back to the past, you never see like anything like this. The Chinese government may help a business to go into space. That actually gave me kind of feeling of the Cold War. The China is actually competing with United States. I know we all know that America has SpaceX from Elon Musk, but now that there's like 5 space company, like One Space, Link Space, Land Space, those like space companies are actually competing with SpaceX. So I would say I'm not really sure. From my personal view, I would say this is a symbol that Chinese is really trying to, competing with other countries, not only USA, but all other countries, try to showing our advantage and our strengths. Now, I'm not really sure that's the right way to understand this, but I'm thinking kind of this,
I think it is. I don't think your understanding is that different from mine. You're viewing it from a competitive angle, and I think this kind of competitive is good. I mean, if you're going to have different types of competition between countries, the worst competition being a hot war, a war where a Cold War, where you are sending satellites, you're sending rockets into space to try to get resources to bring back to Earth or the moon and build a total better, a better human civilization overall. That is not a bad competition. That's a good competition.
Yes, I would always say that the competition like this is not only helping the Chinese government or the country of China, but also like promoting those type of industry in China. We all know that China used to be known as made in China, low quality products, but now we're also making high tech like rockets. Like, why not? I mean, this is a sign that showing the strengths of China. I like the news. I mean, I like the way China did it.
Well, we'll still need to see how well these companies do. I mean, they're startups. We don't know if they're going to be like SpaceX or if they're just going to flame out, become nothing. Who knows? We'll see. But okay,
Yes.
this is a good place to end it at.
Mhm.
If you're watching on YouTube, give us a subscribe, give us a like, or if you're following somewhere else, follow. Feel free to send us an email. Anything you can do, we'd love to hear from you. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.
Okay, see you. Bye bye.